Hi, I'm Mr. Anderson, and today we're going to take a look together at beakers. And here are three different sized beakers, and we're going to use them to measure this green liquid. Don't worry, it's just food coloring. Okay. So when we take a look at a beaker, we need to notice a couple of things. First of all, the very top tells us how much liquid this beaker can hold. And you see these little numbers, these little lines between these numbers? These lines are called intervals, right? And we use them to help us count. For example, in this situation we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines to get from 900 to 1,000. So if we subtract these two numbers, 1,000 minus 900 gives us 100, and then we divide that by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That tells us that each of these lines represents 20. So if we had water at this first line past 900, that would mean we have 920 milliliters. See that little unit right there? This measures in milliliters of liquid. So let's take a look at the next beaker. So this next beaker doesn't measure up to 1,000 like the first one did. It only measures up to 500. Okay. And so let's also, these lines are different, right? So in this situation, we have 400 here, 500 up there. And this time we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines between them. So this time, 100 divided by 10 tells us that each of these intervals equals a value of 10. Well, okay. So now, let's look at our last beaker. And if you notice, this beaker says 250 at top, meaning it can only hold 250 milliliters. And again, if we look here, our two numbers are different. These numbers, we have 200 and 250. When we subtract these, we get a value of 50. And our intervals this time are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ooh, so 50 divided by 5 tells us we have interval values of 10. Okay, so let's try a little experiment here with these beakers. What we're going to do is take this green liquid, and we're going to try and figure out how much volume it is. But we're going to use each of our beakers to try and figure it out. Okay? So let's get ready and go through this. So first up is the 1,000 milliliter beaker. We're going to pour in our green liquid. And give me a moment to get the camera at a good angle for you. We're going to get down here, try and get it at a... Okay, we're at eye level with our liquid. And here's what we need to do. We have to remind ourselves how to measure volume with this beaker. Remember, in this beaker, we had a difference of 100 between the numbers, and we figured out that there were 5 lines between them. 100 divided by 5 gave us 20. So each of these interval marks represents 20. So there's 120, 140, looks like 160 milliliters of green liquid. Hey, write that down. So next up, we're going to grab our next beaker. And this beaker is 500 milliliters. And so let's pour in our liquid from our large beaker here. Okay. And I'm going to move the beaker so we're eye level with it again. Okay. Now we're going to take a minute and orient ourselves here. Okay. So remember, in this beaker has a maximum volume of 500 milliliters, and we're at eye level with the liquid. And one thing I want to point out, we can see 100 down here. And remember, this one actually measures by 10. So we're 10 lines between 100 and 200. So we know that this longer line in between 100 and 200 is 50. Means this line is 60. And this line is 70. So in the first beaker, it looked like we had a volume of 160 milliliters. In this beaker, which has more lines closer together, it looks like we have a volume of 170. Okay, let's try our last beaker and see what it looks like the volume of this liquid is. All right, are you ready? So we're going to pour our water in this last beaker. And let's take a look and see what we have. So again, I'm trying to orient the camera so we're eye level with it. And we can see very clearly here that this is 150. Remember, this beaker only holds a maximum of 250 milliliters of liquid. So we can see here that in this beaker, we have 160, 170, and it looks like 180 milliliters. Well, how can that be? In the first one, it looked like we had 160. In the second one, it looked like we had 170. And now in this beaker, it looks like we have 180 milliliters. So, every time we move to a different beaker, we went from a large beaker at 1,000 milliliters to one a little smaller at 500 milliliters and to one even smaller at 250. And each time, these lines, the measurements we're using, the intervals, are closer together. The closer together our intervals are, the more accurate the measurement becomes. Accuracy is getting the right answer, right? So the closer our intervals are, the more likely we are to get the actual accurate measurement of the volume. And in this case, with the smallest beaker we have on hand right now, it looks like the measurement is 180 milliliters. Thanks for watching. Till next time.